I've always been a fan of urban exploration. Abandoned buildings, forgotten towns, and derelict factories have always fascinated me. There's something about the silence and the stories that these places hold that draws me in. But after my last exploration, I've decided to hang up my flashlight and camera for good. Here's why. A few weeks ago, I got a tip about an old hotel located on the outskirts of town. It was called the Linden Hotel, and it had been abandoned since the late 80s. Rumor had it that the place was haunted, but I've heard that about almost every place I've explored, so I didn't think much of it. I arrived at the hotel just before sunset. The building was massive, with ivy creeping up its walls and broken windows that stared out like hollow eyes. The front door was boarded up, but a side entrance had been pried open, probably by other explorers or vagrants. The inside was just as you'd expect. Peeling wallpaper, dusty furniture, and an eerie silence. I began exploring the ground floor, taking photos and making notes. The grand ballroom, the reception desk, the old bar, everything was a time capsule. As I made my way to the second floor, I noticed something odd. Room 217's door was slightly ajar, and there was a faint light coming from inside. Curious, I approached the door and pushed it open. The room was pristine, the bed was made, the lights were on, and there was even a fresh bouquet of flowers on the nightstand. It was as if someone was still living there. I felt a chill run down my spine. This wasn't right. Suddenly, the room's phone began to ring. I jumped, my heart racing. Who could possibly be calling this room? I hesitated for a moment, then picked up the receiver. Silence. Then a faint whisper. "Why did you come here?" I dropped the phone, my heart pounding in my chest. I turned to leave, but the door slammed shut behind me. I tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. Panic set in. I was trapped. The room's temperature began to drop rapidly. I could see my breath in the air. The lights started to flicker, and I heard soft, distant sobbing. It sounded like a woman, mourning a deep loss. I backed away from the door, looking for another way out. That's when I saw her, a pale figure in a white dress, standing at the foot of the bed. Her eyes were hollow, and her face was twisted in anguish. She pointed to the phone, which began to ring again. I hesitated, and slowly approached it and picked it up. "Leave before it's too late," the voice whispered. Suddenly, the door swung open, and the room returned to its abandoned state. The lights were off, the bed was messy, and the flowers were long dead. I didn't waste any time. I ran out of the room, down the stairs, and out of the hotel. I drove away as fast as I could, not looking back. I later learned that room 217 was where a young bride had taken her own life after her fiancé left her at the altar. Guests reported hearing sobs and seeing apparitions, leading to the room being permanently closed off. I don't know what I experienced that night, but I do know one thing: I'm never going back.